Alright guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today. For this one we are going to do another little out and about video. So I'm in Maribor in the northeastern part of Slovenia, the second city, and we're going to have a little look at this place, La Cantina. Now these guys are attached in some way to Pivovarna Maribor. So this place is like a spaghetteria, pizzeria as they're calling it, but they have their own house lager beers, and it seems that that's actually fairly common in Slovenia, that you have sort of Italian style food and the restaurants also brew their own lager beers. So this will just be a very quick out and about video. We'll have a look around, we'll have a wee look at the menu and so on, but yeah, we'll go and taste some nice lager beers. So there's been some really good ones so far on this trip, so looking forward to this. La Cantina in the centre of Maribor here in Slovenia. Let's get started. So yeah guys, this is just where I was standing a second ago. You can see we're right in the centre of Maribor, but the restaurant has this lovely kind of outside terrace and it's great. We've got lovely weather today, but yeah, I'll just take you on a little quick walk around of this place. So you can come up here and come round and you'll see the main inside part of the restaurant is just around here. We've got a little birdie, there you go. So yeah, there you can see the terrace. It looks really good. But yeah, when you come into the restaurant, it's actually really nice. It looks quite expensive and classy. But yeah, they've also got this little bar over here with all their different things. But like I say, it's house lagers and stuff that they do here. So yeah, this place is pretty cool, I have to say. It's one of these sort of places you just come and kind of spend the day. You can see they've got their little wooden dogs who've lost their bodies. But yeah, as I said, this place is attached to Pivovarna Maribor, so they have all these things. You can get your regular beers, Union Pivnica, Union, Lashko, which is very close by. You get Heineken. Heineken, of course, owns both Union and Lashko, so that's the reason for their presence. But yeah, they've also got their kind of own beers as well. They've got the green lager, the unfiltered lager as well. But yeah, they look very nice. So I've already filmed one tasting. Ryan's just chilling away. So yeah, we had this one a second ago. We'll have a taste of the dark lager in just a minute. Alright then guys, so time for tasting number one, the unfiltered house light lager. Let's do this. Alright guys then, well, time for our first beer tasting here then at La Cantina, which is obviously attached to Pivovarna Maribor. So the first beer we've went for is their house lager, unfiltered, and yeah, I have to say, it looks pretty good. So when this beer poured, it came out with about 2 fingers of a frothy, I would have said perfect white head. You can see it's got a lovely kind of bright yellow colour to it. Very much looks like a kind of unfiltered Helles or an unfiltered Svetli that you would find in the Czech Republic. So yeah, you can see it, lovely unfiltered kind of haze. So this one looks great. 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking toward the side of the glass, a few little ones going up toward the bottom. But overall, it looks pretty nice, I have to say. So let's have a look at the aroma and see what we get out of this one. Oh yeah, that does smell pretty nice. You can tell straight away with this one, it's got that lovely big creamy yeasty sort of thing that you get from the Czech lagers. As I've told you in many videos before, for me, that's the main difference between the German lagers and the Czech ones. The Czech ones are usually just a little bit more bready and yeasty and slightly creamy in a lot of ways, whereas the German ones are a bit lighter, cleaner and crisper. So this is definitely a little bit more, aroma-wise, it's definitely a little bit more akin to a Czech, a sort of Czech lager beer. So yeah, backbone of this one, a little bit of bread crust, absolutely. Some smooth white bready notes to it as well, and then you can just smell a bit of that kind of creamy yeast. There's a little bit of like a Jacob's cream cracker sort of note. Yeah, a little bit of Jacob's cream cracker, a little bit of a creamy bready note to it. On top of that, you get 1 or 2 little biscuity elements, so that's really nice. It's definitely along the lines of a Helles or a Svetli. It's not along the lines of, like, you know, a kind of drier Pilsner sort of thing. But yeah, really nice on the malty side of things. Everything you'd expect from the style. So on the hoppy part of the beer, it just smells like these kind of fresh Slovenian noble hops. You get a little bit of earthiness in there. You get a little bit of a slightly herbal character to it as well. You've got a nice bright floral note, lovely kind of zesty grassy components to it, and yeah, I think that goes together really nice. It's everything you'd expect. This is one of these beers, I think, where it's going to be quite well done, but it's not going to pull any surprises on you. So let's look at the fruity side of things before we taste it. For me, a little bit of apricot, a little bit of that kind of oily, peary sort of thing, fresh apple. Yeah, it really actually just smells like these kind of Brauhaus beers that you'll get either in Germany or, you know, in the Czech Republic. It smells very, very good. So yeah, let's have a taste of this one and see how we go. So this one is the unfiltered house light lager from Pivovarna Maribor at their restaurant here at Pizzeria La Cantina. Let's get stuck in. Slange, skål, cheers, na zdravie. Ooh, yeah. That's pretty damn solid. I mean, yeah, this is one of the things, whenever you go on like Rate Beer and Untappd and all of these sort of things, these kind of beers always get really sort of low ratings and stuff, because everyone's about the IPAs and things like that these days. The IPAs, the pastry stouts, the sours and so on. But to come back and try these sort of classic unfiltered lagers from Central Europe, you know, it's really nice. I really like trying things like this in quite random places. This gets a thumbs up from me. I like it. Yeah. Very, very nice. Straight up lager beer, this one. You could easily sit back and tan a few of these. I'm going to say as well, it is as I predicted. It's just a really nice kind of light, easy going, easy drinking beer, this one. It doesn't do anything surprising for the style, it's just really well executed. So, middle of your palate then, straight away you get a little bit of that kind of fresh, brown bready bread crust to this one. I like that for sure. So, on top of that, you get that soft, fluffy white bread, and toward the back of the palate, you get some of the more kind of creamy, yeasty notes out of this one, which I really like. So you can get that kind of creaminess. It is really more like a kind of Czech lager beer, this one. I will say that. But at the same time, you do get a nice kind of cleanliness to it as well. It must be the local water. But yeah, as I say, bread crust, a little bit of a crackery note, soft, fluffy white bread, then the big yeasty notes at the back of the palate. In the middle third of your palate, you've got a little bit of this kind of McVitie's digestive biscuity sort of thing. You do get an element of sweetness to this one, but these are all things you would expect. And as you go later into the flavour of this one, it becomes more and more bready. On the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate, you've got a little touch of earthiness there. As you move further forward, it's a little bit herbal, and as you reach the front corners of your palate, quite bright and quite floral. Round the front curve of your tongue, a little bit lighter and grassy, and it just has a wee touch of zestiness there. Front third of your palate with the fruity side of things. Underneath all of that, there's a soft white bready character, which I like. And yeah, on top, it's these kind of smooth notes that you'd expect. At the back of the front third of your palate, wee bit of like a dry apricot, maybe some kind of sultana notes, and as you move further forward it gets a little bit kind of more oily and kind of peary and stuff like that. There's maybe a little bit of a kind of fresh green apple just behind the very front tip of the tongue. But overall, this is a really, really nice sort of just unfiltered Svetli, Helles, whatever you want to call it. It's very much along those lines, very much like a Brauhaus beer. Or a kind of Czech lager. I'd say it's a little bit more like a Czech lager for me, which would make sense when you consider both Czech and Slovenia were once part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. So yeah, mouthfeel wise, top end of light body for me, smooth carbonation. It has that lovely kind of cleanliness that you'd expect from the Slovenian water. You know, the Alps are right on the edge of the country, of course. IBUs, I think it's a fairly standard 15, 20-ish at most. Malt base is lovely and smooth, a little bit of sweetness to it as well. Then you've got just a little bit of juicy fruity character. But yeah, very impressed with that. It's a nice lager beer. So yeah, this was the House Light Lager from Pivovarna Maribor here in Maribor in Slovenia. Catch you guys with our second tasting. We're only doing two in this one. Alright guys, so just a little look at the La Cantina menu for you, just to give you a kind of rough idea of prices and things. So yeah, of course, when you start off, you've got some appetizers here, a few different things. The appetizers are a wee bit expensive actually, but I'm not sure how big they are. But the pizzas and things, of course, are quite reasonably priced. You know, as I've said to you in previous videos, in Slovenia you're talking between 9 and 11 or 12 euros for a pizza, and it's good quality stuff as well. Actually, you can see they've got a whole host of different things here. But yeah, different kinds of bruschetta as well. You know, you're talking about between 8 and 9 euros for that. So remember, €1 is probably about 90 pence sterling and about $1.10 American. So either take away or add on 10% of the prices depending on where you are. You can see here, look at this, a half-meter pizza. You know, you'd be having a food baby after that for sure. Yeah, children's menu of course as well, quite reasonably priced. Different types of salad and things, of course, not for Scottish people. We are not healthy enough for all this kind of thing. So yeah, your salad's coming in about 10 euros. Yeah, the pasta is roughly about the same, about 10, 11 euros. Some of them are a wee bit more expensive, of course. But yeah, so just to give you a rough price as well, 10 euros is about £9 sterling, about $11 American. So yeah, I guess because we're quite close to Austria and also Italy, the prices here are a little bit more expensive. But yeah, I have heard that in some places they will charge, if you get the English menu, the prices on the English menu can sometimes be different from what they are on the menu in the local languages. That's just how it goes sometimes here apparently. Not saying that's the case here, but yeah, I have seen that in some places before. But of course, the part of the menu we are most interested in is the last page, because this is where you've got the beers. So yeah, there you can see Pivovarna Maribor, the unfiltered light lager and the unfiltered dark lager. They've also got the green lager as well. But yeah, a house beer with Radler. I'm not sure how I feel about that one, but then of course, yeah, you've got Lashko, Union, and then the Pivnica selection. They've got Heineken and Guinness and Kilkenny's as well. But yeah, as you can see, for a half-litre beer, €3.20, that's not too bad. Just under £3 sterling, maybe about $3.50 American, something like that for a half-litre. So yeah, pretty good actually. And you can also get the self-service beer bar there actually, which is kind of cool. But I think at the time that we're here about lunchtime, I don't think that's available. But yeah, that's a little quick look at the La Cantina menu. If we'd been here at a different time, we probably would have tried some of the pizzas, but they look pretty damn good. Alright guys, well, time for the second and final tasting then here at La Cantina. So we're going to have a little look at the dark beer this time. So this is the House Dark Unfiltered, just calling it, Pivovarna Maribor. So yeah, as you can see, this beer has poured a lovely sort of dark ebony rosewood colour. Looks very, very nice. When the beer came, it had a finger of a frothy, I would say kind of fawn coloured head on it. One or two big bubbles sticking toward the side of the glass, but as you can see, quite a good little bit of carbonation visible in this one. Nice and active actually. So very curious to see what this beer is going to be like. Is it going to be like a sort of Czech Tmavy, or is it going to be a little bit more like a German Schwarzbier? Again, the main difference for me in these beer styles is that the Czech Tmavy is a little bit more kind of bready and smooth and sweet and things. There's the German Schwarzbier is a little bit crisp and more roasty and toasty. So we'll need to see with this one. When it was a dark beer, I was actually expecting it to be more along the lines of a Dunkel, but I think colour-wise, this one is most likely to be along the Schwarzbier Tmavy kind of line, rather than the Cherny Dunkel sort of thing. But yeah, let's have a wee look at the aroma and see how we get on with this one then. Appearance-wise though, it looks very, very nice. Yeah, I'm going to say straight away, this is, I'm pretty sure this is like a Czech Tmavy type beer. So straight away with this one, you're getting a lovely little bit of that roasty toasty, well-fired bread crust backbone. For me, some sweet brown rye bready qualities. There's a bit of that sweet caramelly note as well, like it's got that highly caramelized treacle molasses brown sugary type vibe to it. I really like how that, I do really like how that goes together for sure. It's actually quite a sweet smelling sort of Tmavy beer. So yeah, bread crust, a little bit of a woody character, maybe one or two little nutty notes in there as well. roasty toasty malts. Yeah, definitely a little bit of sweet caramel, a little bit of McVitie's digestive biscuit, then that sort of highly caramelised, that sort of highly caramelised treacle molasses brown sugar. It almost has a little bit of a kind of like fresh rolling tobacco type aroma to it as well. So that is also quite interesting for me. I think that goes together very, very nicely for sure. On the hoppy side of things, a little bit of earthiness. As you'd expect, there's a wee bit of herbal character there too, one or two little floral elements, but also a little bit of grassiness. On the fruity side of the beer, yeah, I mean, again, I'm getting a little bit of that sort of sultana, raisiny type vibe. A little bit of sultana, a little bit of apricot, but you're also getting a wee bit of that figgy kind of note also. So yeah, I do like how this goes together for sure. The aroma of this one is really nice. The fruity side of things for me is quite oily, and I do like how that all pieces together. It is a very nice smelling beer, this one for sure. Anything else we need to say? Nah, just a little, you get a little touch of blackcurrant out of it as well, the more that you smell of it, but it smells great. So let's get stuck into this one then. This is the House Dark Unfiltered Lager from Pivovarna Maribor here at La Cantina, our second and final beer tasting. Sláinte, skål, cheers, na zdravie. Yeah, that's really nice actually. As I've said to you many a time on the channel, I don't get to drink all that many Schwarzbiers or Tmavis or Dunkels or whatever, but I do like how this beer goes together. But yeah, again, first impression that I have of it, it's very clean, it's very smooth, and I like it. I wish we could get these beers a little bit more often. But let's break it down for you and just describe it a wee bit more in depth. So, for me, backbone of the beer then, roasty toasty well-fired bread crust, absolutely. On top of that, you have some really nice, roasty toasty well-fired bread crust. On top of that, you're getting the nice kind of sweet, sort of German rye bready characteristics. As you move toward the front of that middle third of your palate, there are one or two little woody, slightly nutty kind of things going on as well. So yeah, I do like how that goes together, absolutely. On top of the brown bready layer, that's when you start to get some of the brown sugary notes. So middle third of your palate, you can feel there's a little circle in the middle of your tongue there. You get that roasty, toasty, well-fired brown sugar, but there's also toward the edge of your palate, it's got a little bit of a McVitie's digestive biscuity sort of thing to it, which I do quite like. In the dead centre of your palate though, you do get a bit of a straight up sweet caramel, so you can feel from the middle of your palate as you go further out, it gets drier, toastier, and a bit more biscuity. So I do like how that goes together, but on the back third of your palate, it's more kind of big and bready and yeasty. You definitely get that out of this one, but the malty side of this beer is really nicely done. So yeah, on the hoppy side of things, back corners of the palate, a little bit earthy. As you move further forward, it's got a little bit of herbal character, and as you reach the front corners of the palate, it's a little bit more kind of floral and aromatic, and I do like that as well. But the floral aromaticity, I would point out, is quite smooth. Round the front curve of the palate, it's a little bit lighter and more grassy, which I do like, which I also like. But then the front third of your palate is nice and smooth again. So let's just focus on that to round off. So, front third of your palate, base of that is smooth and brown bready. On top of that, you've got the red fruity notes. Toward the back of that middle third of your tongue, toward the back of that front third of your tongue. Sorry, saying the wrong thing there. You do get a little bit of a kind of sultana type note, like dry white green grapes. Then as you move further forward, it starts to get a little bit more red fruity. You've got a little bit of this figgy, black curranty sort of thing. So it's actually quite well balanced, but the fruity side of this beer is quite dry, and that's quite in keeping with the brown bready kind of well-fired sort of thing that you get out of this beer. But overall, as a Czech Czerny, it's definitely a Czech Czerny. Czech Tmavi. Again, saying the wrong thing, guys. It's definitely a Czech Tmavy, a dark beer. It goes together very, very nicely. So on the mouthfeel then, top end are light bodied, the carbonation is very, very smooth, but it still has a little bit of that cleanliness. You know, the Slovenian, the kind of northern part of Slovenia that we're in is right on the edge of the Alps, so you've got very, very clean, fresh water up here, and you can taste that in this beer. IBU wise, I think it's about 15-20 IBUs, and the malt base, as we said, good balance between the roasty toasty side of things, and there's also a little bit of sweetness in there too. But that's a very nice Czech Tmavy for me, a really nice dark lager. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. This is our second and final beer tasting then here at La Cantina in the centre of Maribor. As we always do, we'll go outside, I'll give you my final thoughts, and that'll be that. Catch you guys in just a second. Alright guys, well, we just got back to the car and I realised that I forgot to film a little end bit for the video there at La Cantina. But yeah, not too much to say, to be honest with you. It was really nice. The two beers that I had were about €6, so that's about £5 sterling, maybe $7 American, something like that. Really nice lager beers. The pizzas also looked pretty awesome. If we'd come here closer to a mealtime, we probably would have got one of those. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that little out and about video. Definitely worth going and having some beer and some pizza if you find yourself here in Maribor. So check out La Cantina, various different locations of this place around the city, but the Pivovarna Maribor lagers are pretty nice actually, so go and check them out. Thanks again for watching. Check out my social media, check out La Cantina and Pivovarna Maribor social media, and I'll see you guys in another out and about video very, very soon. Slàinte just now.